What is up, guys? We're live. Welcome back to the channel. Getting on the grind and improving your mind every single video that we do, guys. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, of course, if you have not already. So today's topic is going to be why the Marvels have failed at the box office, and pretty much the MCU is dying or already dead. So, Mike, let's start off with what do you think's going on here, man? Because we gotta go through an article and a few other things.
There's a lot of things. Actually, there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna have to talk about, not just with the Marvels and the MCU as a whole, but we're just gonna have to figure out where we are right now in the MCU, right?
Right.
And so we're post Endgame, which is probably the culmination, the ending of the Infinity Saga. The two of the best Marvel movies, I would say, that came out were Infinity War, Endgame, the last two Avengers movies. The atmosphere going into them, hype through the roof. You know, Thanos, like, amazing villain. There was a lot of hype. Everybody was going, like, what we really wanted to see, what would happen. Infinity War, with the ending of that, just boosted the hype of everything. Everyone was so focused on Endgame. Any Marvel movie that was coming out, everyone wanted to see it because they wanted to know where it connected into that in between Infinity War and Endgame. And so that brings us to the Marvels. Well, not to the Marvels, but to Captain Marvel itself, because Captain Marvel was, of course, teased at the end of Infinity War. And so everyone was really hyped about wanting to go see Captain Marvel. And
Except me.
And so we get to Captain Marvel, and the movie, I mean, wasn't the greatest movie. It wasn't supposed to be the greatest movie, because a lot of us as fans, we get really too caught up in the fact of, we're too caught up in the high because Infinity War was so awesome, we're so great, we're just loving it, and so we're like, yeah, we want that more, we want more of that, we want more of that. You get Captain Marvel. It wasn't supposed to be that. On top of it not having the greatest script, I mean, it wasn't really something to go about. But it really got people to not really like Captain Marvel, the character, and Brie Larson's acting wasn't really the top notch thing either. And so then we have a sour taste of Captain Marvel now because of that movie. Then we get into Endgame hype again. Everyone's crazy. Everyone's loving it. And then we get through Phase 4. And a lot of those movies were not the best either. Some of them were good, I would say, maybe. I mean, No Way Home is technically not a Marvel movie, but it's a Marvel movie. It's part of the MCU. And to me, that was like the best Phase 4 movie. And you got a lot of these shows. So a lot of these shows that come into play with the one with WandaVision, that's where you find Monica, who is in this movie, The Marvels, and
Which I will never watch, by the way.
You find out how she gets her powers. And you have all these other shows that kind of interconnect to the MCU, but the brand of the MCU itself becomes very diluted because there are so many projects, so many different titles that go into it that are coming out all at one time.
Right. And we also have our friend John, by the way, to help us dissect this thing. So now
John, I want to know just your opinion on how because I know you haven't watched a lot of the newer MCU movies recently, but I want to know what your opinion is
on. You should ask him why that is.
Yeah, I want to know what your opinion is on the MCU in itself, like right now. Like, why do you think you don't really have the effort on wanting to see these movies?
And John actually reads all the comics, guys, by the way. He's actually a diehard comic fan. He's actually he'd be the guy who knows all that kind of stuff. So he would be actually an authority to talk about this kind of stuff with. So what do you think?
Thanks.
No problem.
No, but it's, I don't know. It's just like as you were saying before, basically with Endgame and all the hype, it really let us down to where they're going after it. Like, they did Spider-Man, No Way Home, which really brought people to a better place. It even did Doctor Strange, which wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either.
Yeah,
there was just certain things that they did with that film that could have been way, way better, and they just really left out. Like, certain things were nice, certain things were just not all that great. But seeing Doctor Strange is what actually turned me off from going to see the rest of the films. Like, I also seen Thor: Love and Thunder because Thor is one of my favorite comic book characters. I hate all his movies.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one of them.
I think Ragnarok to me is like one of the better ones, but even then, like it's just not.
Very, very, very biased when it comes to certain characters, and Thor happens to be one of them because he's not a comedian.
Yeah.
He never should have been, and the way they like picture him in the films is that.
Yeah.
How he should have been is how he was in the first movie.
Oh yeah.
Just his comedy comes from him being a Norse god living in a modern day city. Walking in, this is the best beverage she's ever had. Let's slam the drink against the ground.
Another.
And then same thing with walking into a pet store. He goes, I need a horse, and well, we only sell dogs and cats here. Well, give me one large enough to ride. So that's just the comedy purpose of where he's at. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what the MCU is right now. So the MCU
crap
just doesn't really do what justice it used to be. I'm very nitpicky about most things. Like the only movies that I feel like really, really did justice was probably Captain America. I feel like the first, second, and third one, which is basically Winter Soldier and Civil War, really highlighted Marvel for what it was. A lot of people, like I had my own issues, especially with basically all of the Thor films, everything that's going on with like Iron Man's one film was really, really bad. The second one, I even had a problem with the third one because I really wasn't too sure how I felt about seeing the Iron Man mostly out of his suit. So, but I like that they like take a lot of parts of different films and implement them into other films, like Spider-Man. If you're nothing without your suit, then you shouldn't be a superhero.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, MCU right now is just not. It's not doing what it should be doing.
Yeah.
They took a lot. Like they're trying to do all these different things, and it's just not. It's not working. Like the Marvels. Captain Marvel wasn't a very good movie to begin with, and then the Marvels I heard was even worse. I didn't go to see it.
Yeah, I just so everybody knows, we will none of us are going to watch this movie. As well, at least pay for it. No way.
Yeah.
If I'm going to watch it, it's going to be on my friend's Disney Plus that I'm logged into. If I'm going to watch it, and if I do watch it, I'm going to get drunk and I'm going to make fun of it, and I'm not going to remember it at all. I'm just going to just laugh at it because apparently it's a joke. We're going to be spoiling some of the plot on the Wikipedia, guys. So just so you know, not that the plot really matters because you shouldn't see this movie anyway because it's probably dog shit. So why waste your money and your time unless you're going to go with your friends to get drunk, as I just said. But we're definitely not going to go see it. At least pay for it. I mean, maybe I'll watch a clip or two that we can use for a video to make fun of.
Yeah.
But,
And what were you saying? No, John. What were you saying?
Finish?
Okay, no, because what I was going to go into now is to re-ask the question: why would the Marvels be bad? Like, why? And so there's a couple things that I was going to answer that question with. One of them, and I think this is probably a big reason of why a lot of the Marvel movies just recently and just in general aren't great, is because I just believe in my thought process and what I believe is that some of these writers probably shouldn't have been writing for Marvel movies or for Marvel shows. And I think there has just been a thing where Disney has been telling Marvel to greenlight shows, greenlight movies, get produce. And Kevin Feige is the one that's overseeing everything. It's just him. So he has to go and look at 30 plus projects that are going to be coming out in 2 year time. He's not going to be able to see everything. He's not going to be able to put his hands on it. And so a lot of these films, a lot of these shows, they're not getting the Feige touch. They're not getting the Feige love. And
not getting any love.
And they're not getting something where he really feels like something else should, something should be put here. Maybe take this out, rewrite this script, do this, blah, blah, blah. I feel like he's not as super hands-on with like what he used to be. I feel like it's become more of just a machine, and he's there, but he's not actually in the field like he should be.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to point out that sorry.
You're good.
That not only the projects that he's working on, but everything that he's been putting together. So he's been pumping out like projects between TV shows and movies like no tomorrow. So now not every single project has been complete dog shit. So it's actually been like Loki has probably been one of the only projects that I think has,
in my opinion, it's probably one of the better ones.
The 10 out of 10 star, and I think that's because of Tom Hiddleston and it just being Loki.
I feel like Kevin Feige has put.
Did you watch Loki?
I watched Loki season 1. I haven't got around to season 2. I just don't have enough time.
I think Kevin
So-
Feige has put more into Loki than he probably has into any of the other shows other than maybe Falcon and the Winter Soldier, maybe.
Falcon and Winter Soldier was all right. I watched half of it. It's just
It-
I
it
couldn't
was,
make myself enough time to watch more of it.
It's just not motivating enough to like. I'm not motivated to watch any of these new Marvel movies. I've not seen the Marvels. I'm not gonna see. I did not see Miss Marvel, whatever that show was.
I didn't finish it.
I didn't even start it.
I did not watch
I watched the first
WandaVision.
episode.
I watched Falcon Winter Soldier because I like the Winter Soldier. I like the Falcon, and I was just curious to see what they would do with it. It was kind of a show. I don't really remember a lot of the plot now, and the villain was dumb. But I like seeing Bucky, so that's pretty much it.
You talking about John Walker?
Yeah, that guy, fake.
So-
Wish.com Captain America.
Well, the whole thing is he was like, which is kind of crazy because like a lot of people don't like him, but like his.
That was
comic book
mostly the
character-
point. That was
his
mostly the
comic
point, though.
book Character was pretty spot on. Like John Walker is just a giant POS.
Oh yeah,
He's a walking around like wannabe
He's-
Captain America. He
Oh,
becomes
yeah.
U.S. agent, and he rocks the same attire and everything throughout the entire comic book. He's not the best character, but that's just like his whole.
yeah.
purpose.
It
He's
makes
like a
me
wannabe-
interesting. It makes me interested
Yeah.
in him for what is it called? The one that he's going to be in with all the villains.
If that even happens. at this
Thunderbolts.
point.
Thank you.
Let's go into this article that we pulled up to
All right, yeah,
kind
let
of
me-
highlight what we're talking about here.
Yeah, so let me pull this up for you guys. This is wrong one. This one right here is from slate.com. So that's where we're getting this from. I did not put in the description, but I probably will afterwards if you want to actually look at it. Marvel just had its worst box office weekend ever. What happened?
Yeah, so guys, at the time of this recording, it's now Monday. Over the weekend was the release weekend of the Marvels, and it's apparently the worst box office weekend. And one of the reasons is because, of course, it's just plot's not very good. The word of mouth is that it's very negative, so people don't even want to spend their money. It's probably woke. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't speak on it. But from what I hear, it's kind of woke. It seems to just be a dumb plot. It's not really, it's not really worth anybody's time, and it doesn't really have anything to do with a very interesting story at all.
Yes. So let me start reading it off here. So the most dominant franchise in movie history had its worst weekend ever, which is actually hilarious because I'm pretty sure the Flash movie had a better opening weekend than the Marvels. did.
Well, yeah, I had Batman in it, so
I mean, yeah,
So-
it does have that.
I had Michael
But I mean,
Keaton.
like this
Mi-
one
Michael
has Samuel L.
Keaton.
Jackson too. So I mean, like,
Yeah,
that
but-
you know that
Yeah, we just saw him last year.
that Batman has a better draw than Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, because he
right?
hasn't done it since 1992.
Let's see, where was I? The 33rd entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe opened to an estimated 47 million at the domestic box office, a catastrophically bad showing for a series that had already been showing signs of strain. That's less than half of what Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Guardians of the Galaxy opened with earlier this year, and a staggering fall off for sequel to 2019's Captain Marvel, which earned over $1 billion. Now, I'm going to pause right here. I think the reason why Captain Marvel hit $1 billion is because of what I said earlier in the beginning of the stream, and it's because of the hype of Infinity War and Endgame. We just got off Infinity War. The next movie was Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Oh yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp in July, and then the next February was Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel was teased in Infinity War. So, of course, Captain Marvel was going to have a high box office because of the fact that it was teased in Infinity War. We knew she was going to be in Endgame. And so we just wanted to know what the story was. However, the story did not be what we were hoping it to be.
Well, not only that, but like then you got people like me who actually read the comics.
And you were excited for
Captain Marvel.
for what Captain Marvel could have been. And then when you watched it, you're like, oh, this is not
Oh yeah,
really.
It was
Yeah,
like,
they had a bunch of nonsense.
It was just garbage because like I read her and she's a powerhouse. Like don't get me wrong, they tried to do her power justice, but I feel like they kind of led really wrong with it. Like she got her powers, and then like the Marvel before her, which was the woman, right? The you know what I'm talking about, on the planet when she keeps having that flashback.
I think she's technically supposed to be Marvel, which is a different.
Which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, it's just a
because
different person
I'm trying to,
completely.
like, well, Marvel was a real character in the comics.
No, I know, but
That's
like,
it.
it's a different person.
It's a guy.
Yeah, it's a guy.
And he's Captain Marvel. His real name's Marvel. And then it's like it's just really pictured really, really differently. And then they're like replaying certain scenes like back and back and back. And then you're like, okay. And then they go forward and then they replay that scene again. It's like you're reliving the same memory almost 10 times.
Yeah,
And it's like you keep seeing it throughout the film. To be honest, man, I watched this film and I fell asleep.
Yeah,
I just found it very, very.
Yeah, I just got bored.
lacklusting. I found myself not interested in watching this movie at all. I read her comics and I thought her counterpart, even in her Avengers comics, like when she's leading the team, very, very good. I don't know what happened, and I think she had too much pull, to be honest, because she wanted to. This is the problem too. This has the like with Ruby Rose when she became Batwoman too. They both had too much pull in the, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but in the feminist department, to where they wanted women empowerment.
Now, yeah, that's a big problem.
Push that to like light, and pushing that into light makes people really, really, certain people just uncomfortable because it's focusing on something that's not really based on the character from, from the comic.
Because like it's and listen, I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to be very candid. Like, we're not saying that women empowerment is bad. But we're saying that if you shove it into IP that it wasn't really necessarily needed to be in there in the first place, then you are not only turning off a bunch of people who were part of the fan base that actually enjoyed the specific characters that you're now ruining, but it's just you are being disingenuous because you're just trying to pander to a certain demographic of people, and you want to try to get their money in. Because you feel like that they've been like for the last 10 years, 10 plus years, at least at that time, that they were like, oh, superhero movies are only for guys, blah, blah, blah. They would never have a woman lead in a movie, blah, blah, blah. Like, of course they were going to get there, but they needed to build a foundation of characters and get to that point. Captain Marvel, if it was 2010, they would have made a Captain Marvel movie if it wasn't for the fact that they needed to actually build a foundation for the MCU in itself with the people that they already had. They would have probably done a Captain Marvel movie back in 2010, 2012, most likely. I'm pretty sure Captain Marvel was supposed to be in Age of Ultron in 2014. They wanted to have her in the end credit scene, but they were like, oh, no, we can't do that, because they wanted to give her an actual movie, which is perfectly fine. But the thing is that once you get like certain writers in the writing room that's like shoving, women empowerment, and then you have actors or actresses for this thing that are, trying to pander to get women empowerment to be put into the movie, then you dilute the movie of what it should be, and especially the character itself. And a lot of the stuff I noticed has really taken a toll on Brie Larson herself. If you've noticed how she acts, if you know how she like as an actress, how she has worked previous to Captain Marvel, like she's a pretty decent actress. I think she's perfectly fine. But I think post Captain Marvel 2019, I think her acting has just been more of just like mellow, like no emotion. It's like from what I've seen in a lot, like between Endgame and between the shots of that she's in for like the trailers of the Marvels, she just seems very cool. Like she doesn't have any real like emotion or any real care.
Well,
and
I heard this somewhere, so take it with a grain of salt, but I heard that she didn't really want to do it.
I've heard that too. I've heard that I heard that she wanted to do it at first and then was iffy about it, and then when she was already into it, and then there was that situation with the Avengers cast when she was talking all that shit about whatever, and they were all against her, and then it probably did not help her in that end. But that's her own fault, to be honest. Ooh, I'm sorry, but let's continue a little bit more with this. It puts the Marvels dead last in the 15-year history of MCU, out-flopping even 2008's Incredible Hulk. That's insane, actually. Only a month ago, industry tracking predicted that the Marvels would open closer to 80 million than 40 million. So what went wrong? There are plenty of theories ranging from the superhero fatigue, which I don't believe is really true.
Not in this case. No.
Yeah, no. That also afflicted The Flash and Shazam! Fury of the Gods. The latter had the worst opening for theatrically exclusive release in the DC Comics universe. To the fact that the actors' strike kept the movie's stars Brie Larson, Tiana Paris, and massively charismatic newcomer Iman Vellani, who I've heard is she's really good at what she does, and I think that's because she actually cares.
Which
Iman
one is that one?
Vellani. She's the one who plays Miss Marvel.
Yeah, apparently she's the best performance of the movie,
Oh,
and I wouldn't blame him. I don't think it's a. I think Brie Larson just destroys everything.
Well, my whole thing is like I she's like a true comic book nerd.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so that's why I believe that she's probably her acting for this will always be top notch because she actually loves it. Where in comparison to someone that we were just talking about, like Brie Larson, where I feel like everything that has happened, outside of the movies, like in the press runs and everything with the Avengers and stuff, and that whole debacle and shit, she probably is just like, nah, I'm checked out, and I'm just here to get the paychecks to get out. So I feel like, in comparison, I feel like Iman Vellani is doing a good job, and I want her to do well. I really want all the actors to do well because they're just humans like us. But I think that if you're doing a job just to get a paycheck and like fuck off, like
Yeah,
then,
in an art realm like that,
in
I
an
mean, it's
art-
like a 9 to
especially in
5
art
at the
realm.
office. Sure, I get it, but when you're doing a movie like that, it's a little different.
yeah, because you're not, because it's not like what you're doing is not for you. It's for fans. It's for people who want to see these movies, and you have to put on a specific show for them. You have to play the part. You have to be that person for the time that the cameras are rolling. And I don't really know much about Tiana Paris other than her playing Monica, but I hope that she actually cares as much as someone like Iman Vellani. And the writer strike, I feel like you could say it could be a factor because that they couldn't promote the movie as well, especially with press runs and everything. But I don't think really anyone was going to really watch it. If it had 47 million, maybe with a press tour, it probably would have hit 50 million, maybe 55, maybe. And that's only just because of the press tour.
Or the plot sale. Yeah.
I feel like with the trailers that they gave out for this movie, it was very all over the place. I couldn't really understand what was specifically happening. There were scenes that they put in there that made no sense to me. And everything just seemed like it was just a jumbled mess. So I didn't feel like there was any reason for me to even want to watch the movie if I didn't understand what was actually happening. So I believe that whoever was the one that was in charge of their promoting, like for the trailers and promoting the movie, even through the writer's strike, I don't think they did a great job. They definitely didn't do good because I don't know. I was not even hyped for the movie whatsoever. And I usually get hyped for a lot of Marvel movies.
Yes, he
Andrew
does.
knows.
Yes, I
Andrew knows.
kind of
get
lost
hyped for a
faith,
lot of
but
Marvel
Mike,
movies.
yeah.
I usually always get hyped.
I kind of lost just faith in.
I tried to get hyped, but like I lost my hype a long time ago. I might get re-hyped if they actually decide to announce Nova.
Yeah, and like they've been doing so many talks about Nova too, and
Yeah.
I've been like, come on, we gotta do something about that.
Well, unless they do Sam Alexander, then I might not even touch it.
Yeah, like I would. I don't even know. Like I would hope that they would just do it, just announce it, because I feel like they had a really good. I feel like they had a really good opportunity post Endgame
Yeah.
to set it up because with with everything with Thanos and everything with Nova and everything, but
they had a perfect opportunity at during
Xandar. I mean,
Infinity War when
when he decimated
Xandar.
Yeah, that would have been a
You could've
great
literally
opportunity
just-
post Infinity War, or technically I would do it post Endgame. I would technically had set it up post Endgame after the
Thanos,
Infinity War, and that way what would happen before and blah blah blah. So I feel like that they're missing the ball, but anyway, let's continue a little bit longer into this. So let's see. It's likely those factors all played some part, as perhaps did a go woke, go bro conservative backlash aimed at a movie with a black female director, Nia DaCosta, and 2 women of color as protagonists. But superhero fatigue didn't stop Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, making almost $700 million 5 months ago, and Barbie and Oppenheimer, the year's first and third biggest movies, respectively, both had their casts yanked off the promotional trail by the beginning of the strike. As for the backlash, although right-wing trolls may try to claim victory, it's unlikely that the audience that put Black Panther and Captain Marvel in the MCU's top 10 box office hits has suddenly swapped sides in the culture war.
It's not about being a Republican or a Democrat. It's about having a good movie and a bad movie. They got to stop with the right wing.
Yeah.
Right wing.
Left
What does Donald Trump have to do with fucking Marvels?
It doesn't.
Kidding me
It's
with
dumb.
that talk.
Yeah, get out of here with that. I don't want to say like it, because there are things that they put in a lot of movies, especially Star Wars. I've
Yeah,
noticed.
they killed Star Wars.
They-
I'm done.
They put on these bullshit like things in there, like did you watch Obi-Wan?
Yeah, actually.
Because I'm
Are
gonna
you asking my opinion about it?
no, I'm asking if you watched it because I'm gonna spoil something.
Oh, I watched it.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
I liked it.
they
but
they put Riva in there just to get stabbed multiple times, who would have probably any other character would have died from, and to have her live for some reason, just to for reasons like why she had no purpose of the story. Okay, and it's because that they wanted to promote this, because she was a woman of color and all these other things, and being in the Star Wars universe, blah blah blah. Like, cool. Like, I want more people of color to come into these into these universes, and have a role to play in the story, but don't let it be the story. Just but be part of the story. Like, just you are part of it, but don't make yourself the reason that we're here. Okay, like, we're here because of Obi-Wan. We're not here because of Reva. It's the same thing. We're here in the MCU for all the different characters and for how the characters are supposed to be and act. We're not here because Brie Larson is pretty much just a mope all the time, when Captain Marvel should just be like a cold badass and actually, sometimes give a fuck about certain things and actually is fun and cool, instead of Brie Larson not being fun or cool. And I don't want to put the blame on Brie Larson all the way, because it's not always just them. Because we've always talked about on things, when we talk about things like Star Wars and Marvel, it's not always the actors and the actresses, it's the writers. The writers do a big part of it too, because they write the stuff that they say. They write the way that they act. And then the actors put in their perspective of their character, because they play the character. And so it's mostly a hand-in-hand thing. And it brings back to the point of that I said earlier, that I think all these scripts and all these different projects, it just go right underneath Kevin's nose. And he doesn't fully realize what is happening until it's already too late. They already put the money in for it, and he has to let it go now, because it's become a thing where people are expecting it to happen, and he can't just change it on a fly. I mean, like, he's been doing it to Blade for a few years now, but it barely even got off the ground in the first place, where the Marvels clearly has gone off the ground, because it's here now. And it probably got to a point where he finally came to it, seen what it was, and it was already too late, and he couldn't really he knew it would take too much money to go in and fix everything. Like, I'm happy that I'm hoping that with what they're fixing with the Captain America 4 movie, that I hope that whatever reshoots that they're doing, because it's apparently like 6 months of reshoots during next year, I'm hoping that whatever they're reshooting is going to make it better, because I don't know what went wrong. I don't know what they did, but whatever it is, I hope that whatever they're fixing makes it good, and makes it a movie that we can all enjoy, like we did with the other Captain America movies, because that's what I would hope for. I want these movies to succeed. I want the Marvels to fail? No, I don't want the Marvel.
I kind of did, because I knew it was gonna be crap. I ain't gonna lie.
But listen, I don't want these movies to fail. Like, because I like Marvel.
I want them to fail if they're bad.
Well, yeah,
because then they have to wake up.
But the thing is that they shouldn't be bad.
They should not be bad, but they are bad. So they should be proven to these studios that you need to stop with the agenda, with the wokeism, with just the writers. Like, stop stressing out the CGI people and make the CGI better. Like, everything.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Like, everything is just horrible over there.
They need George Lucas. They need George Lucas to help.
They need someone.
CGI.
They need us. They need the fans to give input. Like,
with the fans.
even though I wouldn't even call myself a fan right now. I'm more of a. The fuck you doing?
You're the guy that sits at the fence just looking.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not giving you my money, bitch.
I honestly, like, I want to enjoy the MCU. Okay. Do I personally believe the MCU is dying? I believe that if it stays on this path, it has that possibility. I believe that if it stays on the path of the Marvels, there is that possibility that I think it could start to die. Do I think it will? No. And the reason is that people will still go see these movies, even though not as many people are. I feel like people will still go and see these movies, especially now that Disney and now Marvel have the X-Men and have the Fantastic Four back. There is a lot of hype for Fantastic Four because it's announced that it's supposed to come out in 2025. I know that there's a lot of hype for for the casting. That I don't think they've announced it yet as of us doing this live stream, but there's a lot of hype for that. There's a lot of hype for that movie. There's a lot of hype for the actual X-Men coming into the MCU. There's a lot of hype for Deadpool right now. I am super hyped for Deadpool 3. That is the most anticipated movie for me for next year. Actually, I think Deadpool 3 is the only movie coming out next year for Marvel.
Yes,
which is perfectly fine. I would rather them focus all their advertising and all their stuff on Deadpool 3 right now and have everyone else focus on making sure that Fantastic Four, Blade, what other movies? Captain America, all those movies that are coming out in 2025, I want them to make sure that they can make those movies the best movies that they can be, because I believe that they have the potential. Ant-Man had that potential and they rushed it, and it's mostly because of timing and just too many projects happening at one time that they have to schedule everything for, and they just don't give it enough love and care as what we as fans believe that they should.
Yeah, a lot of these movies are just not motivated to really be good anymore. They're kind of, it's either a cash grab or all the men are weak, and it goes against the basic nature of men as well. So a lot of guys are just like, I'm not watching this shit. Every male character is a weak bitch who's like Doctor Strange, dumbass, makes dumbass decisions, or like pretty much every male character in these stories are just retarded, they're weak, and they're pussies. And the women just come in and say, yeah. And a biological, if we're going to a nature perspective, our biological urges are like, okay, this wouldn't happen at all. It just takes us out of like all the human nature things that we know to be true. Okay, this doesn't even seem like this character anymore. Whoever wrote this is dumb. Like She-Hulk is the best example. They just went haywire, and it was just absolutely dumb.
Yeah,
and
because like if you
She-Hulk was on Tinder, and it was like, oh my god.
If you watch the progression of just Hulk in general, if he has pretty much been depowered slowly over time, and then now when She-Hulk came into the picture, she like overpowers him for some reason.
Yeah, that's one of the many things.
They said that she's actually in the comics. They mentioned that she has always been stronger than him.
Of course.
But what I'm going for is more that like they have depowered Hulk. If you've noticed since 2008, like even if she is more powerful than him, which is perfectly fine if that's what it actually is. But in my personal opinion, ever since 2008, I feel like Hulk has been less and less powerful, and he's just been more measly as just like a big dude. He's just a big guy.
Yeah, he should be menacing. He should be feared, I think.
Yeah, and like they've made him be fearful, or like make people fear him, right? Especially in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk, even in like Age of Ultron a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, like it was mostly because of like him going crazy in that movie was probably it. He hasn't really done anything to that extent since. He got destroyed by Thanos, which I mean is perfectly fine. I feel like by them doing that, it boosts up Thanos's power, which is perfectly okay, but at the expense of Hulk, who was already feeling like he was being depowered as it was. And then him training She-Hulk, and for her pretty much to have like a Rey moment where she like doesn't know what the hell she's doing, and then boom, gets it, and she's super good.
Yeah.
And I'm just like if you did it for a longer period of time, I would totally get it, because I do understand that like if her power level is higher than Hulk's, then I would understand for her. It would make more sense to me as a person who's watching, an audience member, to see it happen over time than for me to just see it instantly.
People just don't want to watch.
If she has like this raw power and she just has no idea what the fuck she's doing with it, like that's perfectly cool, but like make it so she has to figure out how to control it, and not someone who just knows how to use it instantly.
And people just don't want to watch these movies anymore. They're not really motivated to go to the movie and spend their hard-earned money on these movies by creators that don't really seem to care, or they're trying to push a woke agenda, which we've seen. All these projects basically demonstrate a failure of writing, failure of plot. There's a lot of incongruencies with the overall arcing, universe. I think they got rid of the showrunner. What is it called? The person that keeps track of all the continuity.
Well, a showrunner is someone who is in charge of continuity over a show
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got rid of that, and that's one of the problems as well. Because people
of the MCU and so.
yeah.
Well, I thought that Kevin Feige was always the big guy.
Well, he's doing
for
a very
that.
bad job. I mean,
I mean, if
there's
he
a
had
lot-
other people under him that would help him, then that would make more sense.
you should.
I think I know that there was a what do they call that? There was a program that Marvel had. I think this was during I think this was happening just before all the Netflix Marvel shows, where they had a bunch of people writing out scripts for Marvel in general, and they bring it to Kevin Feige and his people, and he'd approve or deny, and he would just have these people continue writing scripts for like characters of the Marvel universe and stuff. And some of them ended up becoming scripts for shows like Luke Cage and some of those Netflix shows. And then they got rid of that program, I think in 2016, 2018, so something like that. But a lot of those people who were writing in there were pretty much able to just get in scripts for projects, and Disney was having Marvel green light all of them because they wanted to fill out Disney Plus with a bunch of shows. They wanted to try to get all these movies, try to make all these movies. They felt like, oh, if Infinity War and Endgame were able to do $1 billion at the box office, and so did Captain Marvel, maybe if we do all these shows, maybe a lot of people will just be hyped enough to go see it, and we'll get $1 billion every time every time we put out a movie. Maybe we can just keep doing that. But it doesn't work that way. If you have a good script and you have the hype around it, people will go. It's just a matter of getting the perfect writers for the perfect projects, perfect characters.
Like I tell people they should watch movies and shows that motivate them to become stronger individuals and
have a
want to
specific
motivate
lesson.
them, right? But these movies, they don't have lessons, they don't have motivation at all. The characters are retarded, they're not strong, they're just on their feelings all the time. There's no really real goal. It's a female empowerment agenda nonsense. Like it's always something that's not really plot driven. It's just like I would never recommend anyone to watch anything after Endgame. Maybe No Way Home. I mean, that's more nostalgia than anything, really. But I would just not recommend anyone. I'd rather just tell people go hit the gym instead of watching.
Probably the only one. Probably the only one I would.
Do push-ups instead of watching these fucking movies.
I think the only one I'd probably tell them to go watch would be Shang-Chi. I think that's, to me, that would probably be the only one I'd tell them to watch.
People are not motivated to watch any of these movies. So.
I think that movie in comparison to the rest, especially for Phase 4, I think was probably one of the better ones. The storyline, with his dad and
right,
and like his upbringing and Shang-Chi's upbringing and everything like that.
I don't even remember what
like
an Eternal is. I don't even remember that.
Eternals was a mess as it was in general.
I don't remember what.
I didn't care.
Exactly, no one really cares. That's the problem.
So I know we keep talking about this, but I mean, there's at least two good movies. Oh, I'm so sorry. At least two good movies as far as after Endgame, and I think I haven't seen one of them so far, but the one that's after Endgame is Spider-Man, and then the other one's Guardians. I haven't watched Guardians yet, but I've heard nothing but actually really good things about that movie.
Yes, it's not bad. It's just except for Star-Lord being a bitch when it comes to Gamora, he's just a major simp.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is I understand where he's coming from, and they finally had a true connection growing, through the second film, and really adapt into Infinity War just for her to die. So So for him to do what he's doing, it's showing that he has true character development and true feelings for the person that he really grew close to throughout the entire film. Which is actually really, really ironic and funny because they never pursued a they used to screw in the comics years ago.
Yeah. Well, Marvel doesn't want anyone having sex because that would go against
But that's the whole. So that's what
Disney.
I'm trying to get
It's
to.
mostly Disney.
Luke Skywalker's not fucking. Spider-Man's not fucking. I'm pretty sure him and MJ have not done anything except kiss. I don't support any of that.
But that's what I'm trying.
His characters
to
ain't
point out.
fucking.
So, Peter and Gamora never actually had a relationship until I want to say 2019 when Donny Cates actually made it into his book, and they kept it going. And now Ewan, I don't even know what the hell he does. He's either writing really good stuff or writing really, really bad stuff. So he's like, he's a really good writer. He's a really good writer. But then he just gives you some things, and you're reading, you're like, why'd you do this? it's like watching some of these movies. It's like I said, I watched Thor: Love and Thunder, and I'm like,
why is this a movie?
Why is this?
Yeah, I'm never gonna watch that shit again. What a mistake.
I was happy that there was a fire in the movie theater when we were watching.
No,
Yeah, we
so,
got free stuff.
like
I got a bunch of free
this
stuff.
was my
Yeah, I
biggest
got it.
pet peeve. I read Thor: God of Thunder. The arc is called God Butcher and God Bomb. It's written by Jason
Yo,
Aaron.
God Butcher. Shit.
Yeah, written by Jason Aaron, and he really like brings the story to light. Like this guy is across all timelines. Like he is killing gods everywhere, left and right, butchering them, hanging them on hooks. Like it's really nuts.
Gory and crazy.
Yeah, but like he's just nuts. So like, and I like reading that book just made me like really hyped. Like I was like, dude, this movie's gonna be nuts. And then it's like it's not.
You get one god kill.
You see the first god he kills, and I'm like, all right, well, that's not the god he's supposed to kill. I'm like, all right, well, where's the necro sword come from? Okay, all black sword, all black necro sword. That's okay. So it just like it started turning me off because like I know what that sword came from. I know the god that died that wielded that sword, and I know the god he killed with that sword, and then it made him the god butcher. Like I know this entire story, and then for them to take it and do what they did with it, he was like, he was a creep, bro.
Yeah.
He kidnapped children.
Yeah,
and I was like, what is going on? And then it's like the same opinion that I had about Doctor Strange. Just like it was just so awkward. It wasn't like right. Like I liked one, maybe two scenes in that entire film, and that's when America Chavez was like punching like dimensions open. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then when Doctor Strange was fighting himself with the music battle, I was like, that's pretty. It was pretty cool. It wasn't the bet like, wasn't what I wanted out of the whole film. But like it was fun to watch. But like that doesn't make the film good.
Yeah, because like when I was in the theater watching Wanda destroy the Illuminati, and
cool.
I was like, "Yo, this is fucking cool." And then like 2 seconds,
She's
later,
also
and then 2 seconds later, I was like, "Wait a minute, how did she fucking do this? How is the Illuminati that dumb to let her do the things that she did? Like, why would Reed Richards, the smartest man in the fucking universe, tell her what's his face's powers is? Like, why would he tell her that when he knows goddamn well that she can literally manipulate reality and kill them all? Like, are you dumb?
Well, that's the whole thing. I don't think they completely knew how strong her power was because like she immediately took his mouth away and then turned him into noodles and shredded him.
Yeah, but like but at the same time, I don't think Reed Richards would actually explain to her, because he would not do that. That is not Reed Richards. Like that,
It's an imposter.
Reed Richards.
It's the guy from
especially
The
in
Office.
comics.
It's not Reed Richards.
It's what the fuck is the other guy's name? God damn it, I forgot. Like Reed Richards would not explain to an enemy what another ally of his does as a superpower. He would not do that.
Also, not like to even point this out, but Black Bolt's extremely intelligent. He's not gonna freak out. He doesn't talk.
Yeah,
he doesn't talk. So for him to scream and blow his own brains out is actually beyond me. Because like they really dumbed down the entire Illuminati. Like I don't know Agent Carter all that well. I don't really care. She has no interest in me, like at all. Like I have no desire to get to know that character. So, but like Photon is obviously way, way, way stronger than she should be. Got annihilated.
Yeah, a statue fell on her.
A statue fell on her, and then the person who's supposed to be the equivalent to Captain America, which is Captain Carter. I can do this all day. Clearly, you can't.
No, because you just got cut in half with your own freaking shield.
And then you have Mr. Fantastic, smartest man alive, gave away the biggest plot.
Yeah, and it gets turned into freaking string cheese.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it wasn't done correct.
No.
And then, like, I'm pretty sure, like, I haven't seen the Marvels. I have no intentions on seeing the Marvels, but I'm pretty sure the way that these movies are playing out, that none of them are going to be played out correctly. And just going forward, like, I haven't seen Black Panther. I heard mixed reviews about that. I heard people love it. I heard people hate it.
There were certain things that, I mean, were I think anything that had to deal with T'Challa, in the movie I thought was done well, but pretty much everything else was just like why and what the fuck. Like what they really wanted to do was they really wanted to give Angela Bassett a Grammy. They were really trying to or an Oscar, whatever. They really wanted her to get an Oscar so bad that they made the movie pretty much surround her. And I mean, she had a great performance. I think her performance in the movie was pretty good.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
Pretty much what I said is that I think the reason that Black Panther 2 even existed, or Wakanda Forever even existed, was to try to give Angela Bassett an Oscar. And I mean, she has a good performance in it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to just deny her acting abilities, but I don't think that should be a reason that they should make the movie.
I don't know what that is.
Angela Bassett is the mom.
Is she have you guys seen the film?
Yes.
Spoiler
No.
warning. Does she die?
Yes.
Okay.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Which
So,
I mean, that's why I said that. That's why I feel like they were trying to give her an Oscar so bad.
Yeah, I'm not really
That's
motivated
like-
enough to watch that movie.
no, so but that's the whole thing. They're trying to build because I read a little bit about this, man. I did a couple of Wikipedia searches before we decided to jump on this. So I know a little bit about Ant-Man and why it sucked. I know a little bit about Black Panther and why it didn't do that well. I heard they brought Ironheart into it, and I'm all about I'm a Riri Williams fan. I'm not about her on TV though. I really do not want to see her on TV because it's gonna bring out the worst in me. And like I said, I read they just told you, I read nothing but comics.
Yeah.
One of my most favorite characters in the comics is Drax the Destroyer, and I hate him in the films because he's just a babbling moron who has no power over the Titan himself. Because the reason why he's called Drax the Destroyer is because the closer he gets to Thanos, the stronger he actually gets. He's just a babbling moron who wants to kill Thanos because his family's dead. And
Yeah.
it's like,
You'll love you haven't watched Guardians, right? Yeah, you'll love him.
0-3.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is
You're
he-
gonna.
is
You're
he
gonna.
worse?
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah. And he has a shirt on. Just
I heard he's wearing armor.
yeah. It's pretty much because Dave Bautista was pretty much so pissed off at the fact that they fired James Gunn and everything that he was just like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna actually work out anymore for these shows. I'm pretty much just gonna get my paycheck and go. Which I mean, I don't blame him because it was pretty fucked up, the whole situation. We've talked about that on the channel before when they fired James Gunn and everything. And he just had such a sour taste in his mouth. He was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So he just never worked
He
out
was like,
for
"No,
the
dog."
movie. And they're just like, okay, well, we need to cover you because we don't want Drax the Destroyer to look fat. So they pretty much put the suit on him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. No, but I'm just I'm very opinionated, especially when it comes to comic books, man. And if you don't do a character right, I kind of feel like I have to say something. I feel like the best character adaptation from comic book into movies is probably Iron Man. Because no one should be shocked by this, but he's a piece of shit in the comics. He's a piece of shit in the movies, and I think that's why he's such an adaptation to a really good counterpart. Same thing with Captain America. He does have questionable taste in the movies versus then in the comics, because in the comics he's all about what's right, and that's the only way. America deserves this, and we should be allowed to save everybody and do this and do this and do this. To where, I mean, he lied about Bucky killing Tony Stark's mom and dad. So but that's something that I feel the comic counterpart of him would never do.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. A bunch of characters are kind of just rewritten. Oh, and also we were talking about this. I know we were talking about Doctor Strange, but WandaVision, a lot of people hated Doctor Strange, but that show was actually really good.
He wasn't even in the show.
Yeah, right.
He wasn't even in the show. He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be at the end. Yeah, they in the original scripts and stuff, it was for the ending. They were gonna have a tag for him.
For Strange.
Yeah, because she was Wanda was supposed to go into Multiverse Madness, so they were gonna have a thing for him to be in an end credit scene or some sort of scene, but they cut it. They didn't do it. They didn't even shoot it because before they were going to Feige took it down. He was like, no, we're not going to do that, and we're going to just save it for Multiverse of Madness, in general. And for what WandaVision is, you didn't really need Doctor Strange because it was just whatever. The show was just whatever as it was. But I mean, seeing him would have been nice, but whatever.
No, I honestly, it's perfect the way it was, because I like the ending especially, because because she has a dark hole and she's kind of like twitching and stuff and she's reading. And I thought that was really interesting because it showed you like a darker side of Scarlet Witch. Also, I don't know if you've seen the thing that they leaked. They leaked that she actually died.
Yeah, there's a book out, I think, something dealing with the MCU or whatever, and it says in there that Scarlet Witch did die, bringing down Wonder Gore,
Which
whatever.
I think is ridiculous. She's the most powerful like magic user, the chaos magic that she uses throughout the entire comic books and now throughout the movies, telling me she dropped like a cave on herself and she's done. Like
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I feel like maybe she's dead, but I feel like if because now that she's dead, maybe the spell that she put on what the fuck's the bitch name? Catherine Hahn's character from WandaVision. Yeah, I feel like because
Agatha?
her spell, yeah, Agatha. I feel like Agatha's that spell that she put on her is probably gone now, and so now because she's having her own show, and
There's always a show.
Yep. So I feel like maybe in that show they'll bring her back because money, and maybe Elizabeth Olsen wants to get more money.
Maybe.
Who knows?
These movies are just not good anymore. Ever since Endgame, it's just the Marvel is just another flop. It's another crappy money grabber, and the agenda is still going on. It's just not really motivating. The advertising was not really good as it could have been. No one really cares about these movies. It's just really,
and I think
it's not motivating.
I think what it all comes down to really is for them to just take their time in the writers' room, and for Kevin Feige to be there, like making sure that this is what he wants. Like, is this what I want the MCU to be? Is this really like what the MCU should be? Is like, or maybe is it Disney coming down on Kevin's back? He's like, you're gonna put a bunch of women empowerment. You're gonna make all your male characters suck. Like,
he's doing very good at it. He's doing very good.
If that's the case, then that's Kevin Feige is not to blame for that then. But I would rather Kevin Feige to be more hands-on on a lot of these projects, and I just wish that they would just tone down on how many, the volume of the projects that they be putting out, because they had so many Marvel shows, they put out so many movies in the last couple of years. It's crazy. I mean, like 2025 in itself is going to have like 4 or 5 movies, but that's also because a lot of them got delayed because of the writer and actor strike. But the only one that's going to be in the theaters next year is going to be Deadpool. And then you got like 4 or 5 movies in 2025. And then I think like they have 4 movies, I think, between 2026 and 2027. And 2 of them are the Avengers movies. And so what I would rather have is Marvel just to slow the hell down, back up. Let's just take a breather. Let's pay attention to what we're actually trying to put out. Make sure it's quality over quantity. Quality is key, my friends, because if it's a good project, good development, characters are actually the characters that they should be, there shouldn't be too much of a problem. If you start shoving a bunch of stuff in there, if you start rushing production, rushing pre-production, all these different things, you're going to have a messy movie. You're going to have a movie that no one's going to really want to care for. If you don't have good advertising and good marketing for these movies, no one's going to want to go see them. No one's going to get hyped from the trailers, because I wasn't hyped for the Marvels trailer. I saw the Marvels trailer and I
didn't give a crap. Okay. I was like, I already know I'm not going to see this. I don't even want nachos at the theater at this point. It's like, it's not even worth the nachos. I love nachos at the movie theater to watch, but I'm not going to do it this time.
No, I'm waiting for Deadpool 3. I'm not like, I'm going to watch Echo when it comes out, because that's TVMA. And all the episodes are coming out at once, so I'll totally watch that.
I'll watch it maybe if it's free and there's alcohol involved. Yeah,
I'll totally watch that, because I want to see the bullshit that they're putting there. I want to see the matureness of that movie, of that show. Because if they're gonna put it, say TVMA, it needs to be TVMA. I want to know.
I seen the trailer, and the trailer actually looks pretty comic book accurate. So.
Yeah, like shooting people in the face and shit. That's cool. Like I was actually really, I was very surprised when I saw that in the trailer. I was like, oh shit, like this is okay. I was like, okay, this is something. This is
maybe there's a little bit of hope in there.
I was like, okay, this is cool. I like that. And then I saw that it was TVMA. I was like, yes. I was like, please do this for Daredevil, please.
And that's what I'm hoping for
I was like,
Born Again.
please do that for Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah,
I
but
like,
but at the moment, I really don't recommend anybody watching any of these movies. They're not really good for the mind. They're just gonna make you feel dumb for watching it. And there's a lot of things you could do better with your time than watch the latest MCU crap. Honestly, get a life, see some friends,
Touch
hang by
grass.
touch touch grass, hang by the fire,
the best thing to do.
play Call of Duty World at War Zombies, play Star Wars Battlefront on the PS2. Just do anything that's like just old school. Play football, dodgeball, and yeah. So guys, definitely leave a like on this video. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below on what you guys think is going on with this stuff, and you're gonna keep watching this crap going forward. And we're gonna see you guys in the next video.